Hello and welcome to Alliance War Season 44. This is Episode 4. So last war against Matrix, we had probably our best war ever. We only dropped the one death, and again shout out to BG1 for the second donut for this war. We currently sit overall second in Masters, which is insane. But it means we're probably going to start facing a lot more Masters alliances later in the season. So 6 fights for today as we continue in our goal to finish Masters for the season. And our opponent is a Chinese ally that finished Platinum 1 last season, just like us. They currently sit Masters rank 5. So like us, they probably had a lot of Platinum 1 opponents so far. So our team today will be Ascended Omega Red at rank 5, Sabretooth, and our 6-star rank 5, Silk. So Omega Red will be doing the bulk of the attacking, but we will be needing Silk for a couple of global fights, using the Decay attacker tactic, and the immunity to damage over time will be very important. And here are our masteries. We are going to be swapping around masteries 3 times this war, so it's going to be a big dent into our unit. Well, not a big dent, but it will hurt our unit stash today. So the first fight here is a Sasquatch, starting on path 9 on Hazard Shift. So Sasquatch is a global defender. Now, without the Decay attacker tactic, Silk would not be able to do this because she needs those debuffs to be able to get fully resistant to damage over time. So we won't have to worry at all about Hazard Shift at all in this fight. We can just completely ignore it. The one node we do have to be very careful about is the power efficiency node. So that basically means all the specials that Sasquatch throws cost half as much power as they normally would. Now, I made a very big mistake by copying 2 hits of our invulnerability boost here, but luckily he only threw a double medium, so it didn't use the 3rd one. And we're going to need that later on, because when he goes into Wrath, he also uses half as much power on his special attacks, so that adds up with power efficiency. And when he's in Wrath, he uses no power when he throws special attacks. So that means he's only gaining power during Wrath, which is very annoying. So he just entered Wrath now. I think he had 8 stacks maybe? Of Rage, maybe 9. He's also fully stun immune in Wrath, of course, so we can't chain into a heavy with Wrath up. Now you can see, throwing back-to-back special 2s. I just decide then to push to a special 3. I could have waited it out and then potentially chained into my special 3, which would have applied a very long passive stun. But I decided to just take the special 3 to the face. This will activate Wrath again, but it won't last as long as it did before. It will also give him a bit of regen, but nothing too much to worry about. Now here, I'm just going to do a little combo to keep those debuffs up, because we do want to stay fully resistant to damage. We dodge a special 2 into the corner, and we have to wait for the Wrath to go down so we can throw our special 3. Because otherwise, if we threw it while Wrath was still up, he would still be stun immune. And that really long passive stun that we apply here wouldn't have applied. So we can comfortably chain into a double combo here, into a striker, into a special 2, and even if this was like a rank 3 Sasquatch, this wouldn't survive that special 2 there. So we had a bit of a slip up, but we recovered all right. So moving on in path 9, we have an Attuma, only a 6-star rank 4, but I was advised to just put suicides on because this fight can go bad really quickly. With Omega Red, even though Omega Red is the best Attuma counter in the game, in my opinion, if you're a good Omega Red player. So we are going to put suicides on just for this one fight. We're going to have to take them off right afterwards. But it all comes with going for Masters. It doesn't come cheap. So obviously Hazard Shift in Section 1 is Incinerate and Poison. So starting in Incinerate phase, we just want to hit into block. We don't want to risk hitting him while Incinerate is up, because we are running pretty big boosts for this war. And so that would mean extra damage and less healing from willpower. So once the poison phase goes up, we can safely throw a heavy. We've got locked in 16 spores there, with the Sabretooth synergy really helping to build up the spores quicker. And we get a nice refresh of the degen there right before the poison phase ends, and that was pretty much a perfect fight. So now into Section 2, we're taking Path 7, and this is our second global fight, and our last global fight actually. Our last Silk fight for the war, so we will remove suicides just for this one fight, and then putting them back on afterwards. Now, I decided, just because we're changing masteries for this one fight, I normally, when I'm not running Suicide, I'm running Mystic Dispersion, but there's no point running Mystic Dispersion for Silk. So I just thought might as well put the extra points in Dexterity, because even though she doesn't benefit from the Dexterity Mastery, each rank does get her extra critical rating, which means more crits, which is great because it means more damage. And then we also do have Limber, just in case we mess up and he somehow parries us, maybe. And so we are going to be running an invulnerability boost, I think. Actually, no, we weren't running an invulnerability boost here. Yeah, we weren't running an invulnerability boost on here. We were just running it for the Sasquatch fight. But we still have our skill power boost on from the Sasquatch fight, and those will be nice here. So make a stand does mean he has protection that we have to knock him down for, but that's really easy with Silk because she can just combo into a heavy. And yeah, because no dexterity, we don't have to worry about any Mystic Dispersion. And also a good thing about Ebony Moore, or Silk being attacker tactic, is if Moore does apply a degen from the special one, it wouldn't actually do any damage because we're fully immune to damage over time with those debuffs up. So this is a really pretty simple fight for Silk. She is probably the best matchup outside of like Human Torch for this. But of course Human Torch isn't a global attacker, so yeah, pretty simple fight there for Silk. I did block that second special just because it was my last Silk fight. I didn't need to try and dex it. Okay, so moving on in part 7, we have a Valkyrie here, rank 5 Valkyrie, and it's going to be our last mastery change for the war. We're going to be putting Suicides on once again because we are going to be taking some pretty beefy opponents with a Mega Red here, 2 rank 5s and a rank 2. But they're all great matchups for a Mega Red. They're all skill champs, and a Mega Red, and they are all purifying champs, but a Mega Red can shut that down. So we're just going to block bait heavies until we can get up to 10 scores, because Valkyrie does have a chance to purify debuffs, non-damaging debuffs that is, and one of those non-damaging debuffs from the node is the fatigue debuffs, so she can get those if you're standing close to her. But once we have those 10 spores up, there's no chance of her purifying those. So this fight is pretty much over as soon as it started. So that was all of our path fights for today's war, and now we go over to the mini boss islands. We're going to the first island, one on the right hand side, and we're facing off against a Mantis, a rank 2 Mantis actually. Now this one does have power snack, so we do have a guidance boost on. This is actually a guidance boost that I wasn't originally assigned to have, but I got given it later on, which was nice. We could have easily done this, well not easily, but easily-ish done this without a guidance boost. But the guidance boost does obviously help applying those passive stuns, because you can purify stun debuffs sometimes with that tranquilize. And now I got really lucky there because I did trigger power snack and it pushed her to like a millimeter below a special 3. Like I could breathe on her, it probably would have pushed her to a special 3. But that's it, she got down. Now, heading into day 2 now, all those fights were done on the first day. So we did have we were running 6-hour boosts for those 5 fights, but now we've went on to day 2 with a Korg here on mini boss island B. This is literally a brainless fight for a Mega Red. He does this so easily that I don't even need to worry about any of the nodes at all. None of them are going to have an effect on this fight because a Mega Red doesn't rely on specials, so Burden of Might isn't a problem. And the guidance boost isn't even necessary, but it just makes this fight go from easy to just stupidly easy. And that's the 300k health down in about 30 seconds, which is what you get from an Ascended Mega Red. So that's it for today's war. 6 fights. There was that Sasquatch fight was probably the most exhilarating fight I've had this season, but I was very happy with how it ended. So that's 21 solos for this season now. And we're very well placed to hopefully finish Masters for the first time, because it looks like we are going to win this war, but I will update you with the final result in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.